You're watching Oshkosh City Cable 10, your government channel.
Good evening, everyone. I'm Burke Tower, Mayor of the City of Oshkosh. On behalf of the Oshkosh Common Council, City Manager Mark Roloff, and City staff, welcome to the 2014 State of the City Address and City Exhibit Expo. The State of the City is not just an event to showcase our municipal activities, projects, and future goals. It's an opportunity for all of us to come together and celebrate our collective efforts at the local government level. We aren't just celebrating our accomplishments over the past year, we're also highlighting where we hope to go in the coming year. And we recognize that all of you play an important part in this process as citizens, community leaders, city employees, government officials, elected officials, all facets of our community. In just a moment, City Manager Mark Roloff will deliver his State of the City address. Following his presentation, we will honor several individuals with our Citizen Service Awards for their ongoing efforts in serving on our various city boards and commissions. In addition, we want to take some time to recognize several organizations with our Community Partner Awards for their work on projects that have had a significant impact on our community in a very positive way. One final note. I want to stress again that for our city to work effectively, we need active citizen participation. Please consider serving on a board or commission, and don't hesitate to talk to city staff, council members, or current board and commission members about how you can get involved. Thank you again for coming out tonight, and please enjoy tonight's State of the City event.
Welcome again to the 2014 State of the City Address. I'm Deputy Mayor Steve Herman, standing in for Mayor Burke Tower, who's recovering. We put him on the DL for a couple of weeks. So he'll be out and about and around. But tonight, we're here to listen to the City Manager tell us about the State of the City of Oshkosh, where we're headed, where we're going in 2014. So without further ado, I introduce your City Manager, Mark Roloff.
Good evening, everybody. State of the City, there's supposed to be, I believe, some formal summary of the state of the city, so I'll cut to the chase with that. The state of the city of Oshkosh is very good, and it's thanks to you, everybody out here. Council members are going to be much more engaged in this, as you'll see with some of our video presentation, as well as some of the awards. But I do want to recognize, first off, the council members. I know the mayor can't stand, but if the council members could please stand, I'd like to recognize them to start with. Kyle Clark, Deb Allison Osby, Steve Cummings, Sean Fitzgerald, Tom Peck, and Steve Herman. What I'm going to do is I'm just going to ask the mayor to raise his cane. He's on the DL, but he is on the bench tonight. Mayor Burke Tower. Thank you very much, Mayor. If anybody is a member of our boards or commissions, we have outstanding individuals who serve us every single day in one meeting or another. If you're on a board or commission, would you please rise? We want to recognize you as well. And I think most of the department heads are already standing, but if you're seated, please stand. And if you're standing in the back, just wave your arms. There's so much that I want to talk about tonight, but I do have to get into serious mode in terms of talking about where we are financially. I know there's been some questions about where the city's finances stand, and the council had set some very ambitious goals for me to work on debt management, and that's one of the things that we do actually have to work on. There's been a lot of projects that we've done in the last several years that you all know about. Currently, the central garage is underway. We are ready to open the first phase of that in the next couple weeks. Tell me that's right, Kevin. You in a couple weeks? Yep, we're good. A couple weeks, we're actually going to be opening and then moving on to the second phase of that. So many of our TIF projects, the Riverwalk that you saw, the great presentation in the back, it's just wonderful. And last year we focused on some of the people who made that happen. Lurton Blasingame is back again. I think he wants to see how much more the riverfront can get done. But our TIF districts, those are wonderful things. But they do come at a price, and those are things that we have to deal with. And the reality is that we've had some review from Moody's Investor Service, and just like you at home, if you go out and get a loan, usually that impacts your credit rating. And Moody's has taken a look at the city of Oshkosh. But I wanted to demystify some of that tonight because I think there's been some misunderstandings. There's certainly our debt burden has increased, and we know about that. But Moody's also pointed out a lot of strengths when they took a look at us, and they recognized some wonderful strengths. We got a large, stable tax base, and they even recognize University of Wisconsin-Oshkosh, even though it technically doesn't have a part of our tax base, the financial and economic impact that a university has on a community is just outstanding. And we're going to talk a lot about those types of partnerships that they may not necessarily represent something in property taxes, but what they add to economic and cultural vitality in the community. You just can't dismiss that. It's a wonderful addition, and even Moody's, when they're looking at the numbers, they recognize that that adds to something in our community. Satisfactory general fund operations means we have a balanced budget, and we do a good job at that. And then we have manageable pension obligations. Now, I want to talk about that a little bit because there's been some talk about our WRS, our Wisconsin Retirement System liability. This is a liability that's been on our books for 50 years. So it's not something that just came up. But now the council is taking a look at those things. They're looking at the financial statements and they're asking questions. And this is a legitimate question to ask. And the council is going to be tackling that issue. But even though we're tackling the issue, Moody's still recognizes it as a manageable issue. But they did recognize some challenges, and certainly we want to talk about those as well. The fact that we have a wonderful concentration of manufacturing, when there's layoffs, they always get nervous. The reality is, if you take a look at some of the measures that are going on with unemployment, our unemployment rate has actually not even increased since the Oshkosh Corp layoffs. We tried to impress that upon Moody's, but they're concerned about that. But the fact is, when you have such a large regional employer like Oshkosh Corporation, the layoffs really spread over a much larger area. And if you take a look at some of the information that has been out there, it literally spreads over the entire northeast Wisconsin. So it certainly has an impact at home, but a lot of those folks have been hired back into the workforce because they're very skilled people. But they were nervous about that, and they recognize that's a challenge, and it's something that we all understand. When there's layoffs, you get concerned about that. The narrow liquidity in the general fund, what that means is the general fund's operations are actually very good, but the general fund provides cash flow to some of the other funds that we have challenges with, specifically our TIF districts. The downtown TIF districts are the ones that have cash flow problems in the beginning, and then you hope to turn things around, and then it cash flows itself later on. But because of that, the general fund's been loaning money. That's what that's about. But the general fund itself is in good shape, but it is pretty much the sugar daddy for a lot of other operations until they can take off. Several interfund loans, it's similar. The TIF districts, those are things that Moody's pointed out. And then the elevated debt burden, which I already talked about. We've borrowed a lot of money, but quite honestly, the borrowing that we've taken on has been at historically low interest rates. We were buying at the right time. A lot of communities were scaling back, saying, oh, we can't do this now because the economy's so bad. I think we made the right move. I think by investing when we did, we borrowed at these incredibly low rates and took advantage of that. Yes, our debt burden's up, and that's something that the council recognizes, and they know we need to manage, but we're going to manage it. Lastly, they just talked about things, what can go up, what could take the rating up and down. And it's the same thing that they talked about with the strengths and challenges. We need to, if we get better liquidity as we pay off some of these TIF districts, as they start performing better, and I'm happy to report that Governor Scott Walker is going to be here in Oshkosh to sign a bill that is going to help struggling TIF districts that have been hit by the economy. That's going to help us improve our capacity to pay off our debt with TIFs. So that's going to help. We got to moderate our debt burden, as you can see. The rating could go down if we get a decline in the tax base. We've had some good commercial growth in recent years, but it's also been tempered by decreases in valuation. So those are things we got to keep an eye on. Continuing weakening of incomes. We're going to talk about this a little later as well, but what that means is per capita income. We need every resident of Oshkosh income to go up. The rising tide raises all ships. Economic development means not just opening a store, but opening a store that people can afford to go to. Those are the goals that we want to work on, and that's what you're going to see. Increased debt burden, we've already talked about that, and then the decline in liquidity and general fund reserves. Again, our general fund reserves are good. It's that liquidity as we make those outside loans to the other TIF districts. We got to work on that. With that said, the city's credit rating is still a AA3. It's the lowest of the AA's, but beyond the AA's, there's A, and there's B, and there's C, and you don't want to talk about the other ones, but there's other debt ratings. We are still in the upper tier of debt ratings, but borrowing has had its cost. But to be honest with you, if I had to do it over again, I would be recommending the same thing. I think what you see outside has generated economic activity, and that's what's going to help Oshkosh continue to move forward. So we've got challenges, but we're going to work on those. The ongoing issues of debt management are things that we've done, but they've actually made us successful, and we're working together on these things to move things forward. And that's really the theme that I want to talk about tonight with the state of the city, and that's collaboration. All those things I talked about, whether it was the central garage and getting our employees involved in that, or the river walk and getting the businesses down there to believe in us and give us easements so we could put the river walk out there. Those are collaborations that I just can't tell you enough of, but I'm going to talk about a lot of it tonight. There's so many parts of our city that make us great, and we're all excellent individuals and groups, but when we work together collaboratively, the results can be extraordinary, and I think we've seen that over the last couple of years. You could compare Oshkosh to a symphony orchestra. There's many parts of it, all of which are great on their own, in the same way a symphony has many instruments which sound great when they're playing alone, but when those parts work together, the outcome is just wonderful and accomplishes something that the individual pieces don't accomplish alone. And you could compare that symphony analogy to a lot of things. And so we thought tonight we would talk about the collaborations that we have using the analogy of a symphony orchestra. All of our instruments play together, and when they do, they create a sound that the individual instrument cannot create on its own. So you noticed in the back we've got the Oshkosh Symphony Orchestra, a little display booth there. That's just one way of thanking them, because they've helped us with this analogy, and they were gracious enough to help us out. And you're going to see their talents during our presentation tonight. I got a few comments last year. Remember the bobblehead mark that those guys in the back room talked me into? There's no bobbleheads tonight. We're going to, thank you. We're going to go a little classier this time with the Oshkosh Symphony Orchestra, and you're going to see their talents as we go through this. But you're also going to hear from our partners, the council members, staff members, and our community partners. And thank you goes out to all of them, because they helped us make our presentation tonight, but they've also helped make so many of the things that we're doing so successful. So using the symphony analogy, the first part of the symphony I want to talk about is the clarinet. In the same way the clarinet's part of a symphony, one part of our city are our nonprofit organizations. They're wonderful, and they accomplish so much as individual organizations. But something we want to highlight tonight is the assistance of one group in particular, and that's the Oshkosh Area Community Foundation. And one of the things they're working with us on right now is to acquire a new mobile command unit for the police department. And I want to tell you something about this through our videos.
It's not something you can do alone. It's just not the way the world is right now. We really do need those public and private philanthropic partnerships to really leverage the resources that we have in our community and to address those emerging needs that the city can't do without that support. When this project came to me, I was so excited to partner with the city. I'm like, I will help you in any way, because I can only see this benefiting all areas of economic development, the Heroin Task Force, the Oshkosh for Education, every initiative we're involved in, this mobile unit will help.
They have shown as a community foundation that they are willing to take on those challenges and work with the city. And without them, we wouldn't have some of the facilities that we now have today in the city for our citizens. We needed to have more public-private partnerships, and that's happening.
The successful resolution of any critical incident or even special event that we have in this community, is dependent on our ability to communicate. And it will really enable us to more effectively resolve the situation, but also for us to proactively deliver our programming, our prevention messages, our education, working with kids, and all sorts of creative opportunities for us. We all share the same goals of community safety.
We are so excited about this project, and we couldn't do it without the foundation's help. The chief talked a little bit about it. You saw it in the video. It's more than just a command post for events and emergency situations. Certainly it'll be used for those types of things, and that's very important. But it's also about connecting the police department with our community, and that is the real value, and I think that's why the Community Foundation has gotten involved so much. This command post is going to be more, it's going to be giving a sense of familiarity and trust to our officers. It's really going to be getting them out in the community and supporting the mantra that the chief's been impressing upon his officers with, know us before you need us. That's a new motto that the police department's really promoting, and the whole idea is we want to become part of the community. And the best way to do it is to get the police department closer to you, getting you into the neighborhood. So the command post is, we're looking forward to getting that ready by July. And I can tell you that the council approved the purchase last week because the Community Foundation had already reached its minimum goal that we could order the vehicle itself. But I know that Diane is still happy to take your checks. Diane, wave your hands. If you have a check for Diane, just start writing it out, and she'll be happy to take it. But we are still finishing the fundraising process for this to put a lot of the accompaniments that go along with that. And I think Diane has the naming rights. You can get we're going to have the side you saw, it was all white. It's going to be filled up with lots of donors, logos, and things like that. If you want to be part of that, go see Diane. Thank you, Diane, for everything that you've been doing. The Community Foundation, everyone involved in that fundraising effort. Thank you so much. Well, another wonderful part of our symphony is a French horn. We have so many wonderful parts of the symphony, and the French horn is just one part. Similarly, governmental entities, not just the city of Oshkosh, are also important to our community. And it's important that those governmental entities, like the city and the county, work together. One of the collaborations that's in the works right now is a project between the city and the county, and it's our aviation business park.
When we had the opportunity to work with the county to purchase the land for the Aviation Industrial Park, I thought it was a great idea because there is so much that the airport can do for economic development within our community.
We had to purchase this property somewhere along the line so that we could develop it for the airport. In the end, Mr. Roloff said maybe we could collaborate and work together to try to get this done.
It needed the county and the city both to bring their resources. The aviation committee, the county board, the county executive, the airport management, they've all been very helpful in putting the pieces together for this aviation business park.
We worked together. I mean, we had to work together because neither of us had the whole amount of money to do the project at that time.
In the long term, we expect that there's going to be higher paying jobs, more businesses, a higher tax base. That's going to help everybody when it comes to our making Oshkosh more prosperous in the future.
And these are high-paying jobs. There'll be engineering jobs, there'll be professional jobs, there'll be manufacturing jobs. These are the types of jobs that we need to bring into this community. So by working together, we can leverage each individual's strength for the benefit of our whole community.
This has been the best experience I've had with collaborating with other organizations. The main partners, of course, are the City of Oshkosh and Winnebago County. But also you have Chamco, the University of Wisconsin through Aero Innovate, and East Central Regional Planning that have all played a role. And the work of all these different organizations together has really proven to give this thing a great start. I'm not sure it would have moved forward at all without that collaboration. So I think it was an essential component of this process.
As we look forward, in order to serve the public, and that's our job, is to serve the public as well as possible, we need to look at collaborations like this. This is another example, and County Executive Harris pointed out so many other partners, and County Board Chair Dave Albrecht has been shepherding this project. This has been something that's been near and dear to him for years, and it's that collaboration, developing that trust and that we can work through these together, and all the partners that were mentioned in the video. We can't get this done without those collaborations. Fortunately, the council just awarded the design work for this to get done. So we're going to be working on the design of this through the summer. And our goal is to be breaking ground on this later on in the summer. And we're going to be promoting this at EAA to make the aviation community aware of what we're doing. This project, in addition to the land purchase, is going to involve a $4.6 million investment by the city. That's through a TIF district that was created. Again, we have to front the money and then we get the benefits later on. But because of this collaboration, and it was mentioned, East Central Regional Planning Commission, they assisted us as well. And through their efforts, we were able to secure a $2 million grant from the Federal Economic Development Administration. That $2 million is going to offset our 4.6. That's because of collaboration. The EDA application said, what are you doing working together on this? And we were able to say, look at what we've already done. We've already purchased the land collaboratively. We're working on this application collaboratively. Those are the types of things. And as Chairman Albrecht pointed out, it's necessity sort of becomes the mother of invention. And working together on this has helped us see things that we can do in new ways. And as a result of this, we've had a success in the merger with the health department. We're doing this. And we're going to be looking for some other things down the road. And it's through that collaboration, that continuous dialogue to get things done, that I think you're going to see more results as time goes on. So thank you to our collaborators at the county for the work they've done. I see Walt Wraith from East Central's here. Thank you, Walt, to everybody associated with East Central. So thank you again. That business park's going to be breaking ground in July, and it's going to be thanks to everybody in this room. Thank you. Continuing with our analogy with the symphony, the upright bass is an important piece of the orchestra, and let's listen on this as well. Like doing the tango when I heard this one. I don't know about you, but just a nice little beat there. Like the upright bass in a symphony, the city's business organizations are an important part of our city, and they work hard to make businesses in Oshkosh successful and bring valuable revenue to the city and bring valuable jobs to the city. One thing that we've been collaborating on with the business community in Oshkosh is the streamlining of our site plan review process. We want to tell you a little bit about that.
We're working with a segment of stakeholders in our community that have had some issues in the past developing new properties. They've brought those forward to the city's attention, and the city's been proactive in listening to those concerns, addressing those concerns, and trying to find a way to help these individuals when they're coming together like this and having some frank, open and honest conversations. It's really, I think, producing some outcomes that are good for the taxpayers, good for the business owners themselves and the developers themselves, and ultimately good for our city and our local economy as a whole.
It's absolutely crucial to the process to have that input from the business community. The experience working with the business community was very positive. I don't think there was a lot of communication between the two groups, city staff members and the business community, so to be able to bring them in together and really forge that new relationship moving forward has been just incredibly positive for us all.
There was a focus group of different departments within the city, as well as people outside of City Hall, and just everybody just more talked about how to streamline everything. It's just so much easier if everybody gets in a room at one time and everybody talks about their, what their issues are and how to resolve them, rather than going from department to department. So it saves money. It can help actually get a development in the ground. Time kills deals, so the quicker things get approved and through the process, the more likely that ground will actually be broken and the development will happen.
It'll be a lot easier to see the status and where stuff is sitting. This will keep track of most of those communications online, where everyone can see it, either me, the contractor, the designer, or the city staff can see the information that has been presented so far, when it was presented, when it was reviewed, when it was approved. And overall, I really think it'll help make Oshkosh a more attractive place to locate a business, or if you already have an existing business, a place to add on, or if you're thinking about doing a development as well.
The one thing you heard here is we need to consider who our customers are. That's what this is about. In this case, it was about the business community specifically because they did such a nice job helping us out, but it really is listening to our customers. And we couldn't have done the improvements we've made to the process without the business organization's involvement, because they are the customer. They're the ones using and are impacted by the processes that we develop. So we need to include them, and I appreciate, Pat and Andy were certainly part of that process, but there were other businesses that were involved as well. And it's listening to them, and it's developing relationships with our business community that makes it so important. And because of that, the council recently took some action to further economic development by creating a full service division within community development specifically geared towards economic development. And that group's goal will be to do 150 business contacts in the next year. So if you hear the doorbell ring, so to speak, or the phone ring, and it's us, we want to just be out there saying, what are you as a customer interested in? What can we do to help you? That's what we need to do to further help businesses prosper and expand. And the only way we're going to do it is by listening to them, and we're looking forward to doing that. And hopefully you'll be one of the 150 businesses we call next year. That'll be our goal each and every year. So we're looking forward to that. With that, I encourage you to come back and talk to some of our community development staff in the back room in terms of what other things we have going on to help make the development process go that much smoother. The next part of our symphony is percussion that serves a valuable role in any symphony. Well, percussion kind of sets the tone and sets the beat on things, and an increasingly active partner that we see helping set the pace and set the beat in the city are our neighborhood groups. And you're going to see some of them. We're going to talk a lot about them, and that's something, a focus we want to work on this year. One of the successes we want to talk about tonight has been the community gardens that were really initiated by the neighborhood groups themselves.
Out of thoughtful conversations with residents in the community gardens kind of evolved from this idea where they approached the city and said, is this a possibility? And we worked with them to figure out a solution to make it happen. So any way that we can help to partner and collaborate.
And it's really a collaboration, because Jefferson and the garden at Stevens Park, it is city property, but we're working with these organizations to put the land to good use, and it becomes a source of food. It becomes a source of, I think, pride for the neighborhood. And rather than having a vacant lot sit there with some weeds on it, it's producing food, and it becomes it's beautification of the neighborhood.
We'd come in and just have chit chats about how the planning would go and where things would be situated, and they're all really very friendly and easy to work with. And that land was vacant, and it's 3 city lots that are combined. So it's really nice for people who you know, maybe renting and they don't have that space in their backyard, or, you know, people who just don't have the ability to dig up their dirt, you know, and physically do it. So it's all set and ready for them.
The neighbors are getting to know their neighbors. They have, you know, a common goal, which is, you know, the community garden. It's working on enhancing the beauty of their neighborhood. You know, it includes, you know, helping each other with projects around each other's property.
And the end goal is always, you know, to enrich our environment and make people want to locate in Oshkosh and be proud of what we have to offer.
You know, the community gardens are just one positive outcome of these neighborhood groups. But really, it's about engaging the neighborhood groups. That is really the priority that council set and that I've challenged the community development staff with. And we want to keep those groups engaged. And that's a goal for us, especially as we want to develop neighborhood plans. And Middle Village Neighborhood is one of the organizations that has really started up much by themselves. And we have several other neighborhoods that are on track to develop a neighborhood plan similar to Middle Village. The council just approved the Middle Village neighborhood plan last week. I would encourage you to go take a look at what that is. I think there's some misconceptions about what that means. What it means is that neighbors are saying, look, this is how we want the future of our neighborhood to go. And Liz Williams with our staff is in the back there. She can tell you about how you can help get that done. But we've got all of our planning staff there. We've got a lot of new faces, new energy in the department, and we've got some seasoned planners who've been doing this for a long time. And I think if you see them, you're going to see some of the new programs that we're looking at. One of the things the council challenged us with was we created some new design standards, and there are some neighborhood overlay districts, none of which have been created. The reason for that is people want to see what incentives are out there. The community development staff is working on incentive programs, and they're going to be able to tell you about some of those incentive programs. They'll be primarily geared towards home ownership, but rentals will also be a focus because we know there's a lot of rentals down there, and we want to make the quality of that improve. But home ownership pride is just a huge component of that, and we need to put plans in place that get people interested in investing in their property, staying in these neighborhoods, and making them stronger, because there are people in those neighborhoods that have already committed a lot of their life savings into living in those neighborhoods, and we have a commitment and we have a duty to them to make sure that they're successful with their investments. So go over to the community development booth and talk to them a little bit about some of the things we're doing. I think you're going to see we've got some really great things, and if you are a member of any neighborhood association, go back there and see what we got going on. We want to see more neighborhood groups start up. I will tell you that this is a personal goal of mine. There is not one single neighborhood association that's been organized south of the Fox River. If anybody's south of the river, I challenge you, you need to get your neighbors involved and engaged, because these programs bring you together. You heard it with the community gardens, and that's just one sliver of what can be done. We need our neighbors engaged, giving us input. If they don't like something, we need to hear it. And when we are doing something right, we want to multiply that and get it into other neighborhoods. So I encourage you to stop at the booth and see what you can do about perhaps getting your own neighborhood association organized. Now the next portion of our symphony is the cello. Another part of the city of Oshkosh, part of our symphony, is our city staff and our city council working together. And it's important that we work together because that's what the public expects of us. They expect us to work together to accomplish great things. And one of the things I want to focus on today is the work that they've done to strengthen the bond and communication between staff and council through teamwork and focus groups. And one of our recent efforts had to do with developing our performance evaluation process.
Having a good working relationship between staff and council where we can ask questions and not feel threatened and have a relationship based on trust and mutual respect, that's when you get clear communication and better implementation of ideas. So that collaborative effort between staff and council is something that we've seen as a result of paper performance and being engaged with the staff.
It's pulling together a team of employees who have input into what is being put forward and put forth through the city. Not everybody always agrees with everything that happens, but being able to pull from the employees gives you an opportunity to hear different perspectives. It's the employees' buy-ins, it's the citizen buy-in, it's the city council. They have to make that approval, and because of the pay for performance and because of the performance evaluations, that all ties to the budget. So it's important for them to see what we're working on.
The diversity of our group was really helpful. We had employees from streets department, parks, represented management, all facets of the organization. We had that open line of communication between the city manager and our group. It was hoped that this would improve the line of communication between employees and their supervisors, and we're hoping that with this improved line of communication, employees will have a better understanding of what's expected of their position and use that to better serve the city and community.
Open and trusting relationship means the citizens get served better in the ultimate.
And that's really what it's all about, is serving the public. And even in disagreement, we can forge better decisions, better outcomes. The council brought this up 2 years ago when we developed an update to our strategic plan. Employee engagement was a huge part of that. And it goes even beyond that, because employee engagement certainly is between engaging the council and the staff, but it's our boards and commissions. You know, you take all the boards and commissions we have, traffic advisory, the senior centers, so many of the different boards and commissions, Committee on Aging, the library board, Plan Commission, all those groups working together with staff. We need to have those dialogues. We've increased the number of joint workshops we've had between commissions and council, because too often they're in two different rooms talking about the same topic. Bringing them together and bringing staff in there where we're engaged. And as you saw from the video at the employee workshop on paper performance, the council and the city staff were there at the same table working together. That was more symbolic in that view, but the reality was that was really happening, and engaging our employees is so important. And I think that it benefits, that improves the effectiveness of city services, and that's why the public needs to know that. The public needs to know that we're working together towards a common goal, and I think it serves you as the Oshkosh resident much better. And of course, the last portion of our symphony for tonight is the violin, and what symphony wouldn't be wonderful without a great violin? I could have only shown such promise like that in 4th grade. Where would I be today? Another part of Oshkosh and part of our collaborative partners is our educational community and our educational institutions. And there's a lot I could talk about tonight with this. We have so many wonderful collaborative efforts with the Oshkosh Area School District and Fox Valley Technical College. But one of the partnerships I want to talk about tonight is with the University of Wisconsin-Oshkosh and the UW-Oshkosh Welcome Center. And I don't want to take away their thunder because they're getting ready to open it any day now. But it is a fantastic example of collaboration when it's done right.
It's a win-win for not only the city of Oshkosh from a perspective of the council and budget and staff, and then the alumni center, but it really just takes that nice assets and make it a beautiful jewel for the citizens of Oshkosh.
Ray Maurer was our major contact, and of course working with him, and then Mr. Roloff and the rest of the team. It was just a great experience. I have utmost respect for the collaboration and the effort that they put in it, and equally matched our interest, and it just seemed as though everybody was working together, and that's when things get done.
Just kept that attitude of it's a can-do attitude, and how can we get this done? How can we work with the foundation, with Art Rathjen and his people, as well as the UW-Oshkosh staff. And when we came up with obstacles, we said, instead of saying, you know, the plan won't go through, we decided to say, how can we get this done? How can we work forward to make sure that this partnership does work out? We couldn't have done it without the help of the foundation as well as UW Oshkosh staff. Again, it's a project that all three entities will benefit from, and the community actually is the big benefactor because they have a new alumni welcome center. They'll have a beautiful park.
That was public and private all coming together. And again, that just goes back to say that those types of relationships are really, truly crucial for the success of Oshkosh. We have a current city council, city manager, and staff that are fully on board with this, and all I see is us continuing to move forward in this type of direction.
This is just a great time to be part of just a very exciting development renaissance that's happening in the city of Oshkosh. And I tell everybody to get on board. I think this is our time as a community. If people are talking about us. And how cool is that?
How cool is that? Thank you, Art. That was a great line to end with. Thank you very much. You know, as I was looking at this video, I don't think we did enough justice to what we actually did. A few years ago, knowing that the university wanted to do the Alumni Welcome Center, the University Foundation purchased some land from us that was part of riverfront redevelopment. It was off the river, but it was adjacent to the university, adjacent to Steiger Park. So the first step in the process was selling that property to the university. And then this partnership further went on, and that's where Ray Maurer got involved, because Ray worked with them to, we are closing the parking lot that we had for Steiger Park. The university is going to make part of their parking lot available to users of the park, so they'll still be able to have free parking to use the park. Meanwhile, the university has also agreed to maintain that park, to do the mowing and those basic things that they become annoying, but it's the front door to the Alumni Welcome Center, and literally and figuratively, that's the new front door to the university. So they want it to look as great as possible. So we work together on those types of things. And Ray talked about the can-do attitude, and that's, again, that comes from our strategic plan, and this type of collaboration meets the council's expectations. It certainly meets my expectations, and I think it's staff's expectations, and it's working. And we need to keep this type of dialogue going, maintaining those relationships, and working with our educational partners, and always continue that as we move forward. So thanks again to the university, and look forward to the ribbon cutting in how many days? Just any day now, right? Getting real close. Real close. Art's like, oh, don't ask me yet, Mark. Thank you, Art. To bring this all together in terms of the symphony analogy, we've heard all these wonderful instruments play on their own. And we've also seen all of our organizations do great things on their own. But to tie that analogy together as our theme for tonight, the collaboration between all of our groups that we talked about tonight, nonprofit groups, our other governmental entities, the business community, neighborhoods, education institutions, and the city's council and staff, all doing great things on their own, but look at what we can accomplish by working together, joining our resources to create wonderful things for our community. In the same way that the clarinet, the French horn, the bass, percussion, cello, violin, and so many other instruments, which we saw sound lovely on their own, but when they play together in unison, it really accomplishes something fantastic. All of those instruments create a resonating sound when worked together, playing from the same sheet of music, and in our case, working together towards the same goal, which is to better our city, making it a great place to live and work. we all have that same goal. And if we continue to work together, there's no limit to what we can achieve. I think Oshkosh has a great sound, whether it's the symphony or us working all together. And we have quite a masterpiece on our hands, but it's a masterpiece that's continuing to evolve, continuing to improve. And as we continue to work together, I want to thank everybody for your work in making these initiatives continue to move forward. And you can see we've got a lot of work left to do, but we're making progress. That's what we're looking forward to in 2014. And I look forward to working with everybody on furthering these projects in 2014. So thanks again to the Symphony, thanks to city staff, OCMS, you guys are great, appreciate everything you've done, and thank you and have a great evening.
Thank you, Mark. As you can tell, we are moving forward here in the city of Oshkosh. We're not going to stand still. Now it's time to recognize some of our citizens who have long sat on our city boards and commissions and have achieved significant milestones this year. While we are only spotlighting 21 people tonight, we'd like to thank all the citizens who serve on the city's 25 boards and commissions. Whether you dedicated your time for 1 year, 2 years, or 20 years, what you do is truly appreciated and makes lives important in the city of Oshkosh. It makes the Common Council's job a bit easier. Without them, we could not do our job. So again, thank you to our boards and commissions. We'll start with those boards and commission members who've achieved 5 years of service. Honorees are asked to please step forward as you hear your name mentioned, and everyone please hold your applause until all the names have been called. Troy Munday, Transit Advisory Board. Jeffrey Toms and Carl Nolenberger, Planning Commission. Gary Hafman, Museum Board. Kimberly Bauer and Peggy Bellin, Committee on Aging. Paul Janty, Stormwater Utility. Don Seibold, Traffic Review Advisory Board. Kim Molitor, Library Board. Ronald Lewis, Police and Fire Commission. Michael Russell, the Bid Board. Robert Brees, Sustainability and Advisory Board. Again, without their dedicated service and time and make those meetings, they make many recommendations and forward many plans and ideas to the city council. So again, we thank them for their years of service and continue to serve the citizens of Oshkosh. Thank you very much. We'd now like to honor those members who have achieved 10 years of service. Robert Cornell, Board of Appeals. Sean Butler, John Kiefer, and Maureen Muldoon, Stormwater Utility. John Birmingham and Tom Belter, the Redevelopment Authority. And of course, Bob's a guest at our monthly council meetings and provides us with input of the senior center and what's going on there, and that's always appreciated. But again, 10 years of service on these boards and commissions, it's a dedication to the city, and we appreciate it very much. Thank you. And we have one 15-year milestone accepting an award today, Robert Weigert, Police and Fire Commission. And actually, Bob goes a little farther back. I remember him when he was with the fire department, so he's been a citizen volunteer and a member of the community for a long, long time. Appreciate your work and your support. Thank you, Bob. The final honorees of the evening have achieved 35 years of service. Congratulations to Mary Louise Lewis and Jeffrey Olmsted on the Transit Advisory Board. Thank you very much. Let's give one more round of applause for all the individuals being recognized for their respective years milestones here tonight. Thank you very much. And as the mayor said in his opening comments to the State of the City address, our boards and commissions are always looking for more members of the community to get involved and share some of their time. If anyone either in attendance or watching at home or online is interested in joining a board or commission, they can just log on to the city's website, www.ci.oshkosh.wi.us, and apply. All the descriptions, all the jobs, times of meetings, everything that you need to know about a board or commission is out there. So please take your time and effort and help us with our boards and commissions. Thank you very much. Now we're going to move forward to a brief neighborhood association certificate presentation. As the city manager talked about our neighborhood associations, we'd like to take a brief moment to recognize a couple of the neighborhood associations tonight. I'm pleased to present certificates of recognition to the River East Neighborhood Association and the North Shore Neighborhood Association. Your work with the city and NeighborWorks Badgerland toward creating healthy neighborhoods of choice in our community is invaluable. We look forward to a future of continued cooperation and success. Thank you very much. If representatives from the River East Neighborhood Association, North Shore Neighborhood Association come forward. Thank you very much. Now we'll move into our Community Partnership Awards. At this point, we'd like to honor a few of the city's key community partners. Without community partners, this city would not be able to thrive the way that it has. Our department heads helped us narrow down those partners to be honored. We've chosen 3 deserving award recipients for 2014. I'm now going to hand off to Council Members Steve Cummings and Sean Fitzgerald to present our first Community Partnership Award.
For more than 50 years, the Friends of the Oshkosh Public Library have provided support for the library through volunteer service, fundraising, and advocacy. They support numerous library projects, programs, and services, and have raised thousands of dollars through book sales, more than $190,000 since 1996, when the current sale crew took charge. Friends grants have provided so much, ranging from baby book bags, summer reading programs, author school visits, and furniture for the library. John.
More recently, the Friends have funded attractive display shelving for popular new books, movies, and music, purchased e-books and e-readers for the library to loan, and supported the Lakefly Literacy Conference. The Friends of the Library are the institution's best advocate, and we have a better library in Oshkosh because of all the work they do. It is our pleasure to present the Friends Group with our first Community Partnership Award tonight. Accepting the award on behalf of the Friends of the Oshkosh Public Library is Board President Nancy Lichtenberg, joined by the full Friends Group, along with Jeff Gilderson-Dewey, Vicki Vandenberg, and Lisa Voss from the Oshkosh Public Library.
On behalf of the Friends, I would just like to thank everybody here. We have really enjoyed the past 50 years of supporting not only the library, but the city of Oshkosh in anything that we possibly can. So we sincerely thank you for this award.
Thank you very much. Now I'd like to present the next award with fellow council member Tom Peck.
Oshkosh, Wisconsin's event city, is an identity that Oshkosh is proud of. Our city stands out because of the large variety of events it hosts throughout the year, making it such a wonderful place to live, work, and play. This brand, Wisconsin's event city, has propelled Oshkosh forward. We have the Oshkosh Convention and Visitors Bureau to thank for marketing it and making it Oshkosh's very own tagline, known not only state and countrywide, but worldwide. They are instrumental in bringing numerous special events to the city, along with drawing participants and spectators to the city.
The Oshkosh Convention and Visitors Bureau also played a key role in the convention center's transition, managing it for over 3 years and working with event organizers that utilize the facility. Oshkosh would not be what it is today without the support of the Convention and Visitors Bureau. We are happy to present them with a Community Partnership Award tonight. Accepting the award on behalf of the Oshkosh Convention and Visitors Bureau is Executive Director Wendy Hillsberg, joined by Jeff Potts, Jennifer Mancini, Meredith Manning, Becky Schneider, and Kathy Clough. If you haven't seen their new car, you might want to see it around town because you can't miss it.
We have Jeff Potts, my Director of Marketing, and Kathy Clough, my new Director of Sales. We couldn't do what we do as Wisconsin's event city without the collaboration of this community. And we are an event-friendly city that brings almost over 1 million visitors into Oshkosh each year, and we are growing. It's a strong organization, and we thank you very much for your partnership.
Finally, I'd like to introduce council members Deb Allison Osby and Kyle Clark to present our third and final Community Partnership Award of the evening.
Over the past decade, downtown Oshkosh has transformed into something very special. Businesses and restaurants are taking root. The Riverwalk has added a whole new feature to the area. And of course, the Best Western Premier Waterfront Hotel has pulled it together in a way that we could have never imagined. The new downtown hotel represents everything that we've been working towards.
The new hotel is an incredible example of collaboration. So many people were a part of this project. It really instills a sense of pride within the community. It represents a vibrant community and the commitment to the downtown area. It is our pleasure to present our final Community Partnership Award to all of the partners associated with the Downtown Oshkosh Hotel. Accepting the award tonight on behalf of the Best Western Premier Waterfront Hotel is Rich Batley, President of RB Hospitality, and General Manager Dan Shetter, along with partners Art Rathjen from the UW Oshkosh Foundation, Tom Sunleitner from the University of Wisconsin-Oshkosh, and Tom Shireman from Pfefferly Companies.
Thank you very much. This is just a small group of all the people that really helped this become a reality. And we'd like to thank many of those others. Some of you are sitting right here. There's many other investors local investors that stepped up and put money to make this a possibility. And Paul, you shouldn't be sitting there, you should be up with us. We miss Paul Hoffman. Come on up here, Paul. Some of the other people we want to thank, the names will be very familiar because you heard them often tonight. But we'd also like to thank the University of Oshkosh Foundation, the university for helping pull this together, the Oshkosh Area Community Foundation, which not only helped with the hotel, but this facility to make this possible. And we'd like to thank the city of Oshkosh and all its residents and everyone here, the staff. From Dan, general manager, and my perspective, the relationship between the city and us has been actually phenomenal. The ongoing working relationship, it didn't stop when the ribbon cut. It's been going on, and they've been very helpful all the way through, and we really appreciate that. I would also like to thank Dan and his management team for making the hotel, the conference center, and the ground round so beautiful and so nice. We'd also like to continue to invite all of you to keep coming because we're not at 100% occupancy yet. We don't have 150 weddings yet. And we don't have all the conventions, and I know Wendy's out there going like crazy, but there's room, so please continue to send business our way. We thank you very much. We really appreciate this honor.
Well, it looks like this is going to conclude our State of the City address and awards presentation. Thank you again to everyone who helped make tonight possible, all those people who were kind enough to provide us with some comments on the presentation, the Oshkosh Symphony Orchestra for sharing their talent with us, and of course the Oshkosh Convention Center for hosting us tonight. Here's to a bright 2014 and beyond for Oshkosh. Thank you all for coming out tonight. I hope you had a great time.